From an ordinary father in Rajgarh to the journey behind the Steel King. The legacy of Mohan Lal Mittal that built the world's largest steel company. Sometimes, the greatest structures in history are built on the quietest foundations. The cameras shine, the headlines carry someone else's name. But the real story belongs to the person who stands behind the scenes and shapes the thinking of an entire generation. Today, when the world knows Lakshmi Mittal as the Steel King, very few people truly know the man who laid the real foundation of the steel empire. That man was Mohan Lal Mittal, a father, a guide, and an entrepreneur who wrote the story of the world's largest steel company without any glamour. When Mohan Lal Mittal breathed his last in London at the age of 99, he was not just the father of an industrialist. He represented an era where resources were scarce but determination was abundant, where risk was not fear but responsibility, and where business was not just about profit but a test of character. Passing away just a few months before his 100th birthday felt like the quiet ending of a long story, without noise, without display, yet leaving a deep and lasting impact. Mohan Lal Mittal was born in Rajgarh, a small village in Rajasthan's Churu district. Harsh desert land, limited means, and a simple religious family. In those days, even dreaming was considered an act of courage. Yet, within this restricted environment, a very different way of thinking was taking shape inside Mohan Lal Mittal. In Lakshmi Mittal's words, the core values of his father's life were faith, discipline, and hard work. These three principles later became the backbone of the Mittal family and their business. Thinking big while coming from a small village like Rajgarh is never easy. But Mohan Lal Mittal was an entrepreneur by nature. He was not someone who merely adapted to circumstances. He had the ability to change them. He always taught his children that the safest path is often the most crowded one, and real opportunities exist where risk begins. This way of thinking was extremely uncommon at a time when most people limited themselves to government jobs or traditional businesses. Lakshmi Mittal has said many times in interviews that his father's vision was far ahead of his time. Mohan Lal Mittal did not fear risk. He believed in understanding and embracing it. He used to say that there is no enemy bigger than fear and no investment greater than thought. That is why he didn't just teach his son how to do business. He taught him how to read the world. When Lakshmi Mittal was young, India's steel sector was very limited. Government control, the license Raj, and lack of technology dominated the industry. Yet, Mohan Lal Mittal saw opportunity where most people saw obstacles. He explained to his son that steel is not just a metal, but the backbone of any nation. Infrastructure, industry, development. Everything stands on steel. This thinking later became the guiding force behind Lakshmi Mittal's entire career. Perhaps Mohan Lal Mittal's greatest contribution was that he never allowed his son to think within the boundaries of India alone. He taught him that if a market feels small, you must widen your vision. This is why Lakshmi Mittal turned toward international markets at a very young age. Indonesia, Trinidad, Mexico, Kazakhstan. Corners of the world where other industrialists hesitated to go, the Mittal family saw opportunity. And at the root of this mindset stood Mohan Lal Mittal. Very few people know that Mohan Lal Mittal stayed away from the limelight throughout his life. He never presented himself as the father of a great industrialist, nor did he try to claim credit on any stage. He always remained the person guiding from the back seat. According to the family, his mental strength remained intact until his final days. He continued discussing business matters, offering guidance, and listening to the next generation. Mohan Lal Mittal leaves behind a large family. 5 children, his spouse, 11 grandchildren, and 22 great-grandchildren. But this is not just a matter of numbers. It is the legacy of values he planted within his family. In a statement issued by ArcelorMittal, it was clearly stated that Mohan Lal Mittal believed in building businesses with integrity, purpose, and responsibility towards society. For him, business was not just about balance sheets, but a means of social responsibility. This is why the Mittal family has remained deeply connected to philanthropy and social work. Their contributions to education, healthcare, and social service have always been quiet yet impactful. Mohan Lal Mittal believed that those who take from society must also know how to give back. This philosophy later reflected in the Lakshmi Mittal Foundation and other philanthropic initiatives. Today, Lakshmi Mittal is counted among the world's most influential industrialists. According to Forbes, his net worth is around $24.9 billion, approximately 2.26 lakh crore rupees. He is the 12th richest person in India and the 91st richest in the world. But behind this height lies not just strategy, but values. Values that came from Mohan Lal Mittal. In 1995, Lakshmi Mittal moved to London and expanded his global steel empire from there. Today, ArcelorMittal is the world's largest steel company, operating in more than 60 countries, employing hundreds of thousands of people, and producing millions of tons of steel. Yet the roots of this global empire still trace back to that small village, Rajgarh. where a simple father gave his son an extraordinary way of thinking. The 2019 acquisition of Essar Steel for 59,000 crore in partnership with Nippon Steel was also an extension of that same mindset, seeing opportunity in crisis. And in 2021, when Lakshmi Mittal handed over the role of CEO to his son Aditya Mittal, the legacy of Mohan Lal Mittal was once again clearly visible, passing on power, trusting the next generation, and remaining a strategic guide. All of this was learned from his father. Today, there is discussion that Lakshmi Mittal may consider Dubai or Switzerland as a future base to provide inheritance tax relief for the next generation. His properties in London's Kensington Palace Gardens, especially Taj Mittal, often make headlines. But behind all this shine and glamour, the core values remain the same: simplicity, discipline, and long-term vision. Paying tribute to Mohan Lal Mittal, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that he created a distinct identity in the industrial world and maintained a deep connection with Indian culture. Union Minister Piyush Goyal also said that he laid the foundation of a strong business legacy that will continue to inspire future generations. This tribute was not just to an individual, but to the mindset that gave India recognition in global industry. Mohan Lal Mittal's story teaches us that behind every steel king stands a father who never becomes a king himself, but knows the art of creating one. He reminds us that true success lies not in noise, but in values. And perhaps that is why his legacy is not limited to steel plants or billions in net worth, but lives on in a chain of thought, courage, and values that continues from one generation to the next. When history writes the story of ArcelorMittal, Mohan Lal Mittal's name may not appear in the biggest letters. But those who truly understand history know one thing: if the foundation had not been strong, the world's largest steel company could never have stood tall.